If my year had a soundtrack, Spotify Wrapped is about to explain so much and give you a deep dive into what I've been listening to. From the healing to the hustle, all of the moments in between, and yes, some dancing music too. We're going to dig deep into my Spotify Wrapped and talk some assumptions, some why in the world was I listening to this, and some of my favorite artists as well. Welcome to episode 21 of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys Dancing Through My Year with Spotify Wrapped. I haven't even looked at mine yet. We're going to reveal it together, so you'll be getting my real-time reaction as I go through my Wrapped, and I'm about to find out if the artist that I think is my top artist actually is, because I'm not sure. Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free assumption checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Let's get right into revealing my Spotify Wrapped. I am going to admit though, before I look at it, I don't know if Teddy Swims is going to be my top artist again this year. I thought for sure he was going to be, but then Miss Sabrina Carpenter dropped some bangers, and I don't know. I don't know if she has outdone him as my top artist. We're about to find out. To be honest, I don't know many of the other categories off the top of my head. It's mainly top artist. If I have to guess for top song, again, because I think Sabrina Carpenter came in there strong, I think I'm going to have Man-Child as my top song. I don't know. We're about to find out. All right, 2025 Wrapped, screen recording on. As long as my phone is my friend today, I will have enough storage to screen record this and then share it afterwards as well. Here we go. We're ready for you. Come on down. You listened, we counted 17,990 minutes of music. I don't know if that's a lot. To me, that actually doesn't seem like that's that much. I'm not sure. That's 12 days of listening to music. I'm all about that. Tastes like yours can't be defined, but let's try anyway. You listen to 184 genres. Somehow that doesn't surprise me at all. All right, top genres. Number 1 is pop country. Number 2 is Motown. That is surprising to me. I need to find out which songs are Motown because I'm not sure. 3, Urbano Latino. Number 4 is country. And number 5 is dance. Shocker. Okay, age is just a number, so don't take this personally. Oh my goodness. One of my friends got like 70 as her age for listening. All right, let's see. Gosh, my listening age is 21 years old. Since you're into music from the early 2020s, your taste is trending. I'm just going to point out that I think that's crazy that they're even saying the early 2020s. That right there makes me feel a lot older than a listening age of 21. Just saying. You listen to 548 songs this year, but can you guess your number 1? I feel like I need to give myself a drum roll. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay, I did not expect this. Juno by Sabrina Carpenter. Daisies by Justin Bieber. Then Man-Child. I have a remix of Still Into You by Cyril and Mary Jo. And then this one surprised me. I didn't think I listened to it that much. You Look Like You Love Me by Ella Langley and Riley Green. Okay, this is wild. Teddy Swims isn't even on there. What did I do, guys? Oh, we're getting a little clip from Man-Child. Oh, my top song is Man-Child, though, by Sabrina Carpenter. I listened to it apparently 275 times. I think I may have also, what's the word I'm looking for? Accidentally infused my friends' Spotify Wraps with Man-Child too when I wanted to listen to it in the car. Oh my goodness. I just love that song. All right, here we go. So now they're in order for my top songs. So Man-Child is number 1, which I thought that was going to happen. Still Into You is number 2. That's the remix. Juno, You Look Like You Love Me, and then Daisies. Guys, I am shocked. Like, I know I listen to a lot of Teddy Swims. Your top songs, we've made you a playlist of all your favorites. I'm not going to add it to my library because it's literally already in my playlist. You listened to one album this year. Long live the album. Ah, there we go. Your top album, I've Tried Everything But Therapy, Part 2 by Teddy Swims. You listened to it 1,019 minutes. That sounds more like me. I was wondering where he was, and I was starting to get concerned because I admit that I am a fan of Teddy Swims. I love his music to just jam to, relax to, vibe to, sing to in the car, and of course, practice to for dancing. So I love that he is my top album. That makes me happy. All right, you listened to 430 artists this year. These 5 were extra special. Oh, it's going so fast. Hopefully it keeps going. Wait, I want to go through it again. Okay, so if I look at the pictures, they went through their names so fast. It's Russell Dickerson, Ella Langley, Cyril, the one that I said was from the remix, Teddy Swims, and Sabrina Carpenter. All right, let's see who claimed the top spot. Dun 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 dun. January was a 5-day streak for Teddy Swims for Are You Even Real? And then in June, it was a 15-day streak for She Loves the Rain. 13-day streak for Teddy Swims in general. Teddy Swims is your top artist. He still came out on top. You spent 3,289 minutes listening to his music, which makes a 0.09% global fan. I have to find out last year. I feel like last year I had even more of like a higher percentage of being a global fan. Oh my goodness. Yay. All right, your top artists in order. This is actually a little surprising. 3, 4, and 5 surprises me. I didn't think I listened to their music that much. So number 1 is Teddy Swims. Number 2 is Sabrina Carpenter. Number 3 is Cyril. I hope I'm saying that right. Number 4 is Russell Dickerson. And number 5 is Ella Langley. That's a pretty fun lineup. I'm not going to lie. I am a little surprised though about 3, 4, and 5. I'm not sure who I thought would have replaced those numbers, but I'm happy with the Spotify Wrapped. I also actually love that it is different than last year. And now a word from one of your favorites. Teddy Swims again. I got his message last year. I'll record that and share it later. All of your listening made you a part of something bigger. Which club do you belong to? Oh my goodness. I don't know. There's so many options. I don't remember there being a club portion last year. Club Serotonin, Cosmic Stereo Club, Full Charge Crew, Soft Hearts Club, Cloud State Society, Grit Collective. Okay, let's see. Oh, I got Club Serotonin. Your club thrives on good vibes. Members insist on natural lighting. Your role, leader. Your listening is strongly aligned with club values, making you a perfect role model. That is so cute. I love that. You're in great company. 18% of global listeners are in your club. Your club favorites. I don't know who some of these people are. I feel like I've heard of Jordan Davis. Russell Dickerson is in there. Sabrina Carpenter is in there. I honestly don't really know who the other 3 are. I'm sorry. Okay. Is that it? One more thing. We pulled some of your files just in case. Oh my goodness. What does this mean? Biggest Teddy Swims day, February 1st. Most nostalgic day was April 13th. I feel like I need to type on Get Through Report. What is it? The day you press rewind on your playlist and never let go. Overnight, you spun Juno, Man I Feel Like a Woman, Kesha, Avril Lavigne, and Black Eyed Peas. By the afternoon, it went to Honey, I'm Good, Here's to Never Growing Up. Oh, 233 minutes, 95 tracks, 60 artists. Huh. Interesting. My biggest music listening day was April 29th. My most diverse day was June 11th. What is this? Let's see. Teddy Swims and Sabrina Carpenter, Tadasha, Salsa Jazz Tango. I must have been practicing for sure. A Latin dance stretch. 27 genres in one day on June 11th. Okay, Wrapped Party. Challenge your friends to a real-time listening battle. Oh my goodness. Comment if you want to be in a rap party with me. I've never done that before. That was really fun. My screen recording saved to my video, so I'll be able to share this with all of you. Let's dive in to some assumptions of what my Wrapped even means. Let's move in to my top artist reveal, which was Teddy Swims. He still made it to the top, even though I know I listened to Sabrina Carpenter so much. So Teddy Swims, I started listening to him because I feel like Jose, who, if you listen to last week's episode, you met my dance partner, Jose. I feel like he's the one who introduced me to Teddy Swims' music. And then there was just something so beautiful about his music, his voice. I honestly just love listening to it. If you haven't listened to him yet, I highly recommend checking it out. Personally, I don't even think I can suggest a favorite album because I love music even from before his career really took off and he was doing some covers. Something that I can say for sure is I had the opportunity to go to his concert at Radio City Music Hall, which was beyond cool for so many reasons. One, it was the Teddy Swims concert. Two, it was a Christmas gift from the year before. And three, I've never been to Radio City Music Hall. So it was also very cool to be there. He is just honestly such an incredible person. He sat down and he talked. He was signing autographs. And something else that I have to point out, which I don't feel like this is accurate for many artists, he literally sounds exactly the same in person as he does on his albums. I'm not even kidding you. Exactly the same. His talent is wild. So, yes, I'm very happy that Teddy Swims was still number one. This makes 2 years in a row that he's my number one artist. So let's see if that continues in 2026. If I had to pick some of my favorite songs to suggest that you listen to, I love She Loves the Rain. Lose Control is obviously very popular. I do also love some of the alternate versions though. There's a piano version. The a cappella version is gorgeous. There's something about a cappella music. I love when you strip away all of the instruments and background sounds and it's just the voice. There's just something so beautiful about it. So I would recommend, if you know the song Lose Control and you've listened to it a lot, try some of the alternate versions too. Broke is one of my favorite Teddy Swim songs. I do love that one. I like the version with Thomas Rhett and without. When you listen to the version without Thomas Rhett, to me, it almost has even more of a vibey feel to it in the verse that replaces where Thomas Rhett was. I do recommend that as well. 911 was one of my favorites when I first started listening to him. I do still listen to it, but I think it's one that I played so much that now I tend to go to other ones. Oh, She Got It, I feel is a bit underrated maybe. I don't even think he sang it at his concert. I love it. It's so good. Such a good listen. It's featuring Coco Jones and Glorilla. It Ain't Easy is also a good one as well. There's so many. All right, let's move on to my top song reveal. So my top song was Man-Child. That was no surprise whatsoever. I love that song. I think it's fun. It's a good beat. I love singing it. I love jamming to it. I mean, from a dating perspective, yes, it's very relatable. I think in my past there were plenty of men children, if that's the plural version of man-child. I don't know, is men children the plural version? So in a sense, yes, I relate to it from the dating perspective. Also, just sometimes in general, like everyday conversations with men, sometimes the song just makes me giggle about it. For example, I was in a lot of pain from my time of the month, and a friend of mine was just being nosy and I mean slightly concerned, I guess, because I was in a lot of pain and I have a high pain tolerance. He just asked what was wrong, and I mean, I'm not embarrassed. I'm a woman. This happens to every woman. So I just said, it's my time of the month. I'm in like an unreal amount of pain. And then the response was, "Oh yeah, I get the feeling." No, you don't. So it's little moments like that that just make me giggle when I listen to this song. But overall, I just think it's so fun, so cute. Love the energy, love the vibes, and it's just honestly fun. You know, I'm very sarcastic too, and I tend to relate to Sabrina Carpenter's personality when it comes to things like that. So it's just overall good vibes. The next portion, we're going to go through a few assumptions. So these are all related to music. The first assumption is if you dance for a living, you never turn music off. I am someone where I will be somewhere, I guess, where you typically would expect to have music. So let's use the gym, for example. I will work out in silence, complete silence. I think that when you're in an environment where there's music blasting and there's music constantly playing all the time, it's just kind of like needing a break, just kind of breathe and recenter myself. I'm gonna need some time alone. So if I'm working out, I will do it in silence sometimes. If I'm in the car, sometimes I will just drive in silence. There are some days where music is just too much for me. And again, as a dancer, yes, I'm constantly listening to music. The other thing is, as a dancer, my brain is constantly thinking. My brain hears a song and I start thinking, oh, what choreography would I do to this? I hear a song and I think, oh, what dance is this? Or if I'm with people who know I'm a dancer, they ask me what dance it is. And I think just sometimes when it comes to everything in your life surrounding one topic, I think it's completely natural to need a break and to step away for a moment. So I do turn music off. That assumption is not correct when it comes to me. I love silence sometimes. And I'm very comfortable in silence too. I feel like that is a bit of an underrated topic, I guess I would say, is when you meet someone who's comfortable in silence, it's a completely different vibe. I can be alone with my own thoughts, even though some of them are wild. I can be with friends in silence. I can be with one person in silence. Silence doesn't bother me, and it doesn't mean that something's wrong. Sometimes people assume if you're being quiet or if you're silent for a long period of time that something's wrong. And that's again another assumption that we can just kind of debunk there for a moment. There are some people who thrive in silence. There are some people who are just so beyond comfortable in silence, and it's not a bad thing. And yeah, I don't need music on 24/7 just because I'm a dancer. All right, assumption number 2 is you only listen to sad music when you're sad. No, I listen to some sad songs just because I really like listening to them. Let me pull up some as an example. They may not necessarily be on my playlist, but there are certain ones that I do tend to lean towards. I'm looking through my playlist now to confirm what I just said. I don't think I really have sad songs on here. I don't know if Dancing in the Smoke is considered a sad song. I'm not sure. Hold on. There's a Christina Aguilera song that I listen to all the time because it's such a gorgeous song. Say Something, that's a beautiful song as well. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but that's also a beautiful song. Back to Basics, Save Me From Myself. I don't know that I would consider it sad, but it definitely has more of a slow, vibey kind of tone to it. I'm trying to think now. I don't know. I'm not in the mood to listen to sad music right now, so I feel like the ones that I'm thinking of aren't necessarily coming to the top of my head. When I have a moment when I want to listen to sad music, I'll come back and I will post them on my Instagram at SBTTOG Podcast. Next up for assumptions, your top song must be tied to a person. All right, Manchild is not tied to a person. It's the vibes, it's the energy. I think it's a really fun song. And yes, it might make me think of some relatable moments, but it's definitely not tied to a specific person. I do get the assumption in a sense where there are some songs that will come on and I just remember exactly where I was, where I heard them. For example, Lush Life, That song came on while it was 6 a.m. and I was at one of the pools in Vegas. Yes, I couldn't sleep, so I woke up at 6 a.m. and I went out and I laid by the pool. That song came on. I was one of the only people out there, and it was just such a vibe and so relaxing. So that would be an example of music can definitely be related or give you a reminder of something that was happening during that time in your life when you were listening to that song or you heard that song. Another assumption is you don't replay songs like that anymore. I'm not sure what that means because I don't know what it means by like that anymore. However, I am a person who is probably annoying as can be when it comes to repeating music. When it comes to practice, sometimes there's just a song that's stuck in my head and I want it on repeat because it's danceable. We can use it. We're focused on that dance. The other one I mentioned before, my brain is constantly doing choreography. If my mind has decided that I wanted to do a specific song for choreography, I will replay that song over and over and over until the choreography comes out perfect in my head. When it comes to that, yes, I am terrible at repeating music. I'm sorry if my repetition has annoyed anyone, but it didn't annoy me. I got a lot of work done, so I guess it's a sorry, not sorry situation. Another assumption, people's taste in music tells you who they are. I think that can be a yes or a no. I think that's a bit narrow-minded to think that just music alone can tell you who someone is. I think that there are a lot of aspects to a person. If we quote Shrek for a moment, because he's one of my favorite like OG cartoon movies. Shrek compares layers of people's personalities to an onion, and onions have layers. And I think that that's definitely something true because personally, I would never say that someone's music choice tells you exactly who they are because I just think that there's so many more aspects to a person than just one aspect of the music that they listen to. Plus, if you catch me on a nostalgia day listening to music, if you catch me on a day where I was thinking, it's a sad music day, I think that that would be wrong to make assumptions about my personality and who I am. Whenever I have a guest on, we go through a series of rapid fire questions. So I actually prepared some for myself that I thought we would go through together. So I'm going to start with the first category, which I made a playlist. So if anyone needs some breakup songs or just some songs to jam to and listen to if you're going through it in terms of a relationship, here are some songs for the category if my exes were songs, because sometimes it's just fun to jam and laugh and maybe play some music you wouldn't listen to on a daily basis. So of course we have Man-Child in there. There is one from Haley Steinfeld. It's called You're Such a, and then again, I don't want this to be an explicit episode, but she comes really close to basically saying DICK out loud. And I just think it's a really funny song. Again, I just love that vibe. Whatever you want to call that vibe, I'm here for it. Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo. ABCDEFU by Gail. That is such a fun song. I have to admit, I really do love jamming to that song. Thank You Next. For more of the bittersweet vibes, Happier, Don't Start Now, and Jealous. And then, of course, IDGAF by Dua Lipa. Let me clarify. Don't Start Now is by Dua Lipa and Jealous is by Nick Jonas. I do also vibe with the remix, too, that has Tina Shea in it as well. So that is my answer for my rapid fire on if my exes were songs. Up next is songs that are on my playlist that might surprise you. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not a surprise at all. I don't know. You tell me. Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. That is such a vibe. Almost anything by Kesha. I'm not sure that I would say everything, but I'm going to stick with almost anything by Kesha. Kesha has some memories for me with my best friend and her sister as well. We would jam in the kitchen to Kesha. We would jam in the car to Kesha. At one point, I was nicknaming my best friend's sister Kesha, and she would call me Kesha. It was like Kesha number 1 and Kesha number 2. I don't remember who was who at this point, but Kesha just has a spot in my memories for good reason. I do love Low by Flo Rida. That one is a jam, I'm not gonna lie. I'm going through my playlist. Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker totally gets stuck in my head all the time. All the time. It does remind me of a person, which I'm not thrilled about, so I have to turn that memory off whenever I hear it, but it is a good song. I do love some Pussycat Dolls. Don't Cha is a vibe, so is Buttons, not gonna lie. I love Blurred Lines. I have to admit, that song gets stuck in my head. Also, it was a very popular cha-cha at one point at competitions, so I would hear that often. I do listen to Ignition by R. Kelly. Don't ask me why that song gets stuck in my head. I don't know why, to be quite honest. There's a few more I want to point out. WAP by Cardi B. Yes, it's on my playlist. I do have to say something. When I would be at the gym, for some reason, whenever WAP came on, someone would run to the music and they would change it. But the thing that I never understood about that is there were so many other songs that said equally as, I don't know what the word is because I'm not offended by WAP whatsoever. I love Cardi B. I enjoy listening to that song. Come at me. I don't know what to say. I know that some people were not about it when it came out, but I really like that song. But for some reason, people would run to change WAP, but then you would have songs come on that I think says a lot of worse lyrics, like bad lyrics, and just completely degrading lyrics, both towards men and women. There were music that would play that was just so degrading versus, I don't know, if you ask me, I think WAP has more of a form of empowerment to it. So, Anyway, I never understood why people would run and change that song or be shocked that the song was on and I wasn't the one changing it. I don't know. I don't get it. Temperature by Sean Paul is always a vibe in my mind, forever and always. Body Like a Back Road by Sam Hunt. Yes, I jammed to that song, although I have to admit, I am going to do an episode in the future that's going to have that song featured in it. And you're probably going to laugh. Hey Soul Sister is a vibe as well. And there you have it. Those are some songs that are on my playlist that I'm not sure that you would have expected them to be on my playlist. I mentioned before that music can definitely bring you back to a moment in your life or a period where it just reminds you of certain things that were happening or maybe people that you were around. And for some, that's great. Those are really happy memories, and for some, they're not so happy. I think that music can tell a lot about someone's life. Not everything, as I said before, but I do think that it can truly tell you a lot about someone. And sometimes people will share that, sometimes people won't, and that's okay. We're gonna discuss for a moment. We're gonna get just a little deep without anything being crazy heavy. I think that throughout my year in music, there were some habits that I grew. We're not necessarily going to go through each song because that's going to take forever, but some habits that I grew this year that I'm really happy that I grew. So one that may seem silly to some people, if you're watching this on video, I actually have real natural nails. I have had the worst habit of picking. I was never a biter. I was just a picker. I would sit and I would pick my nails. It was a nervous habit of mine, but sometimes I would also do it without even realizing it. So this has been about 6 months maybe that I actually have my real natural nails and they don't look anymore. Other habits were I started focusing more on what I was drawn to. And I call that a habit because I would say in the past, there were a lot of times I brushed off things that I was drawn to or curious about because I had already committed to some other activities or other engagements, whatever it might have been. And I do regret being a yes person in that sense. I know they say you should live with no regrets, but if I could go back and not be a people pleaser, if I could go back and not be a yes person where I said yes to everything, even if it was something that I really didn't want to do or whatever the case was, I started tuning into more of what I wanted and what I was drawn towards and saying no to opportunities that were really something that was not a path that I wanted to go down. And I would definitely say that that's a good habit that I grew this year. Even if this is something you want to try, they don't have to be massive decisions right away. You can just do what you're comfortable with, as always. Some identity shifts that I went through. I wouldn't say that it was necessarily an identity shift. I feel like that shift happened before this year. I just think that as the year went on, I discovered more and more of who I am. And I know that that's going to be a journey that's going to last for a while. And I fully expect to keep changing and adapting and growing and learning the entire time. So I don't know that I had a massive identity shift this year. I think if you asked me, that probably started at the end of 2023, maybe. And it's just kind of continued from there. I wouldn't say that it was an overnight shift for sure. There was so much that went into it and so much that I'm still putting into this journey. If you're going through something like this, I would recommend starting at the beginning of my podcast. I was definitely learning my way through filming a podcast, but I do feel that a lot of the beginning episodes share a little bit more about change and growth and adapting. I will be doing more episodes on that, I promise. But for now, if you go back more towards the beginning episodes, I think you'll find a lot of relatable conversations about that topic. We're going to talk about the quiet wins because sometimes there are wins that tend to be very big and very loud. For example, someone posting something on social media and really sharing their win in more of a public way, which I would consider more of a loud win. There's always, of course, some that feel like they're coming off with a bragging tone as well, but to each their own. Everyone celebrates their wins in different ways, but let's discuss the quiet wins for a moment. And I think that these are the ones that nobody sees, whether it's because you're not comfortable sharing them on social media or maybe you just want to keep that win for yourself. That is okay. You don't have to share them all. It's just important that you yourself acknowledge them as a win. So whatever it might be, it could be something as simple. Well, I won't use the word simple. It could be something as you woke up, you got out of bed, and you chose to have a good day. That's a quiet win, or that's a win if you want to share it. Regardless, it doesn't have to be something huge for it to be a win. And I think that the tiny ones tend to build up and they become very special as well. So you need to let them have their moment. And if I had a quiet win this year, what would that be? I'm trying to think. There's been a lot because I do celebrate a lot of them quietly, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with that I don't want to share them. I think in my mindset, I'm very much a person where I'm goal oriented and I have a list of things that I want to accomplish. And when I kind of check off the list, I've already mentally moved on to the next one and the next one and the next one and so on and so forth. So for me, I don't necessarily take the time to share it, not because I don't want people to know, but because I've already moved on to what's next. And that's how I've always been in the dance world. That's how I've always been just in my own life overall, is I'm always just trying to move on to the next one in order to continue growing. So I don't necessarily have a specific one to share right now, but I can tell you that there are a lot of quiet wins that I celebrate, but my version of celebrating tends to be more along the line of moving on to the next one. One thing that I'm proud of. So my playlist, and I mentioned a little bit of this in my conversation with Jose, I have really tried to find more authentic music for dancing. So going down to the Latin beats, different songs like that, songs that aren't even written recently. And I'm talking, I mean, I guess I hate saying like that the past 20 years might not be recent, but I'm saying like even 20 years and older, these kind of songs that are out there. Maybe I should probably go up to like 30 to 40 years old, some of the songs that I'm pulling for practice. And for me, that is something that I'm proud of because I admittedly was someone where I wanted modern music to practice to. I always did. And I can tell you one thing is that by listening to Jose's influence on music, my playlist has changed and it's going to continue changing. And I'm very excited about that. Maybe we will do another episode at some point sharing some of our music. So, a moment that no one else saw that changed me, I would relate that back to, I would say it's kind of related to a few things. So, I've been very dedicated at the gym. I've been very dedicated to my routine in terms of what I eat. I've been very dedicated to what I drink. Also, some other outside influences are, again, music, podcasts, what I watch on television. I've been more conscious, I guess we would say, about what I'm taking in. And we can relate this to social media as well. So, more of the content and the audio and the visuals and things that I'm taking in, I've been much more aware of that. And overall, as a whole, those have helped me to really just take better care of myself overall and to feel so much better too, managing stress, solving problems faster, things like that. I think that all of these aspects of just taking care of myself have created this domino effect that nobody really saw because I tend to do a lot of these things on my own and I don't always share all of them. I said before in a post that social media is real. It's just not the full picture. I don't share everything in my life on social media because there are some things that personally I need to just be mine and for people to not know about. And it's nothing bad. It's nothing sketchy. I want to be able to have some activities or some hobbies or some moments where I don't need to film them or I'm not even tempted to film them, things along that line. So I would say that that is definitely more along the lines of where that came from. And music is related to that because there are songs that, yes, I may have listened to. Maybe I'm not ready to listen to them again because they do bring me back to places in my head or memories that I really don't want to think about. And I have excluded those as well. And I've filled in those gaps with songs that really make me want to sing out loud, that bring me joy, that make me happy. And I truly believe that music is a powerful tool when it comes to not necessarily adjusting or shifting your personality, but more so your energy and your thoughts. And I guess that being a dancer would encourage that because, again, we're listening to music, we're dancing to music all the time. But music is something, regardless of dance, that I have always found to be incredibly special in my life. We are approaching the end of the year, so I am going to go through some 2026 predictions for rap as well as just life overall. The artist that I think will take over next year. I have a feeling Teddy Swims is going to stay on my top artist list. I do. I have a feeling that it's going to be Teddy Swims and Sabrina Carpenter, but then I also have a feeling that Riley Green might slip in there. I do also think that Bad Bunny might slip in there as well. I mentioned the episode with Jose that one of his more recent albums does have music that is danceable more so than some of his other albums when it comes to ballroom. So I do expect Bad Bunny to slip in there a little bit. Yes, I am also excited for the Super Bowl. I do love Bad Bunny's music, so I don't know what to tell you about that. I think Teddy Swims will most likely hold, but yeah, I'm gonna add those other artists in there. I'm not sure who else I'm going to be listening to though enough that they would kind of find their way into my top artists. I'm not sure. My top genre prediction, I have a feeling it's probably going to be more of a pop vibe. I know that pop was in there. I think that country is going to continue sneaking its way in there because I do like to listen to country music, especially lately. I would definitely imagine that that's going to slip in there. I have to find out though who is considered Motown because I'm really not sure. The idea of Motown in my head does not match what I'm listening to because I know even for different dances like swing and jive, we really weren't listening to that much actual classic Motown. what I hope for my listening personality. I hope that I stay true to the music that I want to continue listening to. And when it comes to what I hope next year feels like, I want it to be a celebration and a celebration of continued growth, of continued learning, feeling like even if I have moments where it feels like I'm on the verge of maybe hitting another failure, knowing that the only reason I'm failing is because I started trying in the first place. So I think that as time goes on, I just constantly want my life to be a massive growth experience. I've said it before and I'm going to keep manifesting it. I want to be a pro on Dancing with the Stars. So let's put that manifestation out there. That would be absolutely amazing, and I would absolutely love to join their show. That would be a full circle moment for me, for sure. I'll save it for another episode as to why. When it comes to music, I hope that you are happy with your Spotify Wrapped as well. If you're someone who doesn't have Spotify, this is not an ad whatsoever. This was for me to connect and share more about myself. I also just think that the Wrapped at the end of the year is fun because I am really curious about my listening tendencies and who I listen to the most. I just think it's really fun. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. This is episode 21 in season 1. Follow along on social media at SPTTOG Podcast because she's probably talking to other guys is too long of a handle for most platforms. I cannot wait for you to tune in, and thank you so much for being here.